actually wanted to ask you is, do you have any information of any European activity on the space programs, and how much money do they actually spend, and what are their achievements?
Yeah, so I've had a couple of conversations with people when I've been out on the streets doing activism. And from what I can gather, the British Space Agency get over £1 million a day, £1.16 million a day to be precise, for their entire space program. That being said, the amount of times I've spoken to people on the previous Global tour, we were looking to go to the British Space Agency, but it was just a little bit too far off the tour. However, in speaking to people, like I said, in Doncaster, I spoke to a physicist in Doncaster who said that I had two things to thank the space agencies for. Would you like to know what those two things are?
Yeah.
Americans, Chinese, Europeans, no matter where you live, where you're from, we should all be grateful to the space agencies for giving us Teflon and Velcro.
The second one, what's the second one?
Velcro.
What is that?
You know, the stuff that you kind of goes, that you can sometimes, I need some Velcro. Just pause for a second.
Oh, you have it. You have it.
I've got some stuff that we should thank the space agencies for. So you bear with me and I'll grab that. Okay.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that.
Right. Sorry. I'm back with some Velcro. So it's going to present to you all now something that we can thank the space agencies for. I don't know if you can see that. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You might recognize the sound of this when I do this. Whatever you call it in Russian. You know?
Yeah. Okay. It's used for the clothes and for the shoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Teflon, the thing that makes our food not stick to the pans. Mm-hmm. So in all these decades, that's all they've got to show for themselves.
I wonder why they actually don't make the cars of the same material that they use, all those satellites, as they say, because it's, can handle all those huge temperatures, and our cars obviously cannot do it. Like when we stuck in the traffic jams, and sometimes the huge trucks are so heated up that all this, stuff is boiling in your radiator, and it's like plugs it out. So why can't we just have some technology from space that we could be using and have all those metals heat resistant and stuff like this?
I think they do tests and experiments, whether you want to call them observations. I definitely do feel that there is some legitimacy to high altitude observations and experiments and tests that they do, where the atmosphere is different. Yeah. I still have a massive issue with the vacuum of space being beside, our atmosphere. That to me fundamentally does not make sense.
But the heat of the atmosphere.
Oxford University not being able to answer that question.
Yeah,
a friend of mine held a gas, the fire extinguisher.
Yep.
They held that up and they said, look, how would the pressure inside this be able to be there without the actual container containing it? And they all literally kind of, well, is that a trick question? Like, sorry, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, that's the basis of our reality. What you're telling us our reality is, and what I see and what I'm observing and what I'm not being able to back up for the claim that's being made is proof of that.
What is the buffer between the vacuum and the atmosphere, actually?
Well, that's for me, that's the $64,000 question. If someone can just show me show me, like really show, not with pseudoscience, not with, you know, airy fairy magic tricks and stuff that's from make believe, because that's all I've been shown so far. Make believe. Disney can do that, you know, it's fine.
Other questions that I want to ask you, if we actually think about some type of firmament, I mean, probably people would ask you on the streets, what is above us then? And it's not if it's not space, what is above? Probably you're gonna say it's a firmament or something like this, right? What is the actual proof that it actually exists besides those two videos when we have the rockets hit something?
Well, for me, the only reason the firmament would exist would be to explain there being some kind of membrane in between the vacuum of space and our atmosphere. That, but I don't have a visualization in mind when saying that. It's like me saying, listen, I'm more comfortable with the rubber balloon being there than you telling me there's a helium balloon there without anything holding. I can't buy into that. I'm going to have to buy into something containing it. However, the quintessential optics that are floating around for contained systems don't match anything that's in my head. I don't have anything. I think, and I know a lot of people probably be able to relate to this. There's a lot of us, and I hope I speak for a lot of people, that have actually just let go of everything and gone, I'm okay with nothing. I thought I knew a lot and I didn't. I actually knew nothing. I was just fed a load of information and pertained it and took it all to be true. And for me, once I let go of outer space, I appreciate people's optics massively, because I do feel like it takes some massive thought processes to get to the optics that some people have got to. But for me, I'm okay with just saying, okay, from what I can see, it's observably flat. Not making a claim. I'm just saying I can't observe curvature. That's all I'm saying. I can't find anyone that can give me some proof of curvature either. Answers on a postcard, operationrealness@yahoo.com. If you do have any observation or proof of curvature, please send it to me. I'll get my coat. I've got better things to do with my life than look for curve when people are saying it's there and it's not there. I don't know, Philip, have you seen any curve?
Not really.
No. I've seen a lot of gimmicks and lights, camera action, but nothing of substance. I haven't seen any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core either. We've only dug how deep?
Yeah. So what we can actually resume on this topic is that we're given a bunch of shit. It's
correct, my friend.
Point number one. Point number two.
Well, maybe it's not all shit, right? It's a bit of shit mixed in. Well, a lot of shit mixed in with maybe a little bit of truth.
Yeah, I mean,
deciphering that's the
efficiency of these projects is very low, and it's close to zero. And maybe it really gave us Teflon and this, how do you call it again?
If they did Velcro, I mean, come on.
Maybe it did something else, like maybe 200 of those.
Not sliced bread, is it?
200 that we don't know, like, I don't know, fire extinguisher, or maybe Teflon, or maybe some other foils that can be used in this fire protection suits during these fire extinguishing processes. Who knows? But actually, it's close to the zero, because nothing actually happened since 2000, the year 2000. We have 19 years of nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
And we, as the taxpayers, can actually make something like a community question, and promote this community task.
Well, like the way the government has to give full transparency on their spending, Well, they're supposed to.
I mean, if you have something like petition on Change.org signed by like 10 million people.
Yeah.
From
an international petition, or
is there
such a thing as an international?
We can make a petition in each country which has a space agency, and so each country can ask each space agency about the spendings.
Yeah.
And it could be like simultaneous in each and every country, and correlated to one goal of asking that. Where is the effect, guys?
I find that incredibly efficient, and I find that an incredibly efficient use of time. If we could maybe, whoa, words words are a tough one because I was
That could
about to say
actually
a word there
change.
that I didn't really want to say.
What
But
is
I
the
think
best PR company for this flat Earth than this?
did you just say VR company?
PR,
Oh,
public relations.
yes,
It's the best public relations, topic,
yes.
because everybody's going to be blaming us for this nonsense petition, but it's the effect of Barbara Streisand. When you blame somebody for with this negative information and flow of negative explanations of this process, making people public think the different way, you have the effect of Barbara Streisand. And so this is what I want to do. What do you think about
I'm
it?
with you on that one, Philip. I'm all the way with you on that one. I've got a very specific question. I just need my other device to get the. I'll go through the parameters of it. A few other people know about this. Cosmic Surfer, Stan Smith, Z Proxy. Space VR. You can look them up. Space VR. Might not be called Space VR. I think it is though. Space VR. They had a Kickstarter fund set up where they raised almost $1 million. And all they wanted to do was create something that doesn't exist at the moment, which should exist. And all of our space agencies have had the technology to do this for years. And I really want to stress this, everybody. Okay, please check this out for yourself. Space VR. They are an independent collaborative of individuals who got together. They created like their equivalent to a GoFundMe, Kickstart, almost $1 million, just to get a 360 camera from ground level to over 50 kilometers in altitude, unedited, 360 imaging all the way up, real world imaging, not CGI, not data, not composite. Ground to 50 kilometers in altitude, non-edited, no edited, no cuts, one continuous piece of footage. And they didn't have enough funding. Someone else came in later on. One massive benefactor gave them a whopping $1 million and said, listen, there's more than enough to get on with it. So now they're at 1 point, well, let's call it a couple of 100,000 short of £2 million. Yeah. And do you know we've still not got the footage?
Oh, so they just collecting the money and nothing happens.
No, unfortunately not. No, they've done what they needed to do. They've just been held up by bureaucratic red tape withholding them back. So they've done everything they need to do, but they're not getting it off the ground. And please correct me if I'm wrong, and if I am, please, I urge you to go onto the comment section of Philip's, and if you have looked into this, please put your research into there, because I'm hounding for more information.
We are not live today. I'm just
No. I'm saying that for future reference. Hopefully, you can urge people to possibly do this because it would be really helpful. Word on the street is, whatever country they're going to and asking for permission to launch, guess what, Philip? You could probably answer to this. Guess what's happening?
They
No
not
one's
letting.
No, of course they're not. Of course.
They just have to go to Russia and
So
not even ask anybody. Like,
well, do you know what? Apparently, like I said, word on the street is they've literally gone to every bit of land that's governed and tried to get away with this, and it's not happening. They've definitely come up on the radar, and then they've been gagged, bound, and stopped at bureaucratic red tape 360 degrees. Imagine having over $1 million, having the equipment, getting everything sorted, and then not getting it off the ground. And it's like I said, I urge anyone who's looked into this, please, could you, like, if I'm wrong, correct me. If there's updated information, please put me right, because I'm urging anyone to look into this, demand the answers, because these guys want this project off the ground. If we could actually do a petition to say, get it off the ground, listen, the space agencies have that footage. They do. I know they do. I think we'd be foolish to think that they don't. They have the full picture. Yeah, probably half a dozen people have got the full picture. We don't. We're the people. We should have the full picture, and we don't. It's out of order. So I think with what you're saying with the petition, I think maybe we could maybe include something that's factual like that.
Yeah, yeah, that could be
They look
used as a fact.
specifically why.
Yeah,
Why? I want to see that. They've got the money. Let them off the ground, for crying out
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
But they don't. They want to control the narrative. That's why Virgin Galactic, that's why Tesla, I mean, SpaceX will only get so far before the government steps in. People say, stop talking about Admiral Byrd, but the same thing happened to him, guys. He got so far and then the government took over and then went, go home. Don't need you now. That was what, the third or fourth expedition? They sent him packing. They said, this is a government expedition now. It's what they do. They swoop in, take over, and before you know it, you're singing a different tune. You're humming to a different band all together, not doing anything you set out to do in the first place. We've seen it. We saw the promises that Branson gave us all. We saw the promises that Musk gave us all. And then we see the kind of recluse press conference, morbid, wearing black, looking like they're grieving, telling us, a script. You can see, I saw the difference. I followed Elon a lot before he did that launch, the launch that killed him, as far as I'm concerned. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. It's almost like the biggest punchline of our generation. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. Biggest contradiction of oxymoron I've ever heard in my life. How can you tell something's real because it looks fake? Just tell me. Please tell me how can anyone tell something is real because it looks fake? The sentence doesn't make sense, my friend.
Because everybody is going to be looking at it like a
it
fake.
doesn't make any sense. I could take the case off of my phone and I could say, Philip, you can tell this is real, Philip, because it looks fake. You'd say, Roxanne, that doesn't make any sense. Stop talking rubbish. You know what I mean?
This is what they actually do in all this clown job, is just to mislead us from the real stuff and, just accept this information.
Like the 3 astronauts in that press conference. Remember, with their sorry asses looking all down and looking all glum? Well, look at Elon in that press conference. He's wearing black. His arms are folded. His head's down like he's hanging his head in shame, telling everyone, you can tell it's real. It was like a modern day Stanley Kubrick crying for help. It was pitiful.
Yeah. And what about the first space launch?
Well,
have you seen the footage of the first space launch?
Laughable.
Yeah. And the daughter of Yuri.
Like the kid TV shows that you watch when you're a kid and you don't notice all the strings and stuff in the background. And you go back as an adult and you think, wow, I really bought into that, man. Like Button Moon. I don't know if you had Button Moon in Russia, but in England we had a program called Button Moon, and it was aired when I was a little kid, and it really looked like proper. Obviously I knew it was fake, but I didn't see all the bits and pieces behind that just looked really obvious. And when I was an adult, I realized that the shutters are definitely on when you're a kid. You can get you don't see things that are clearly there because your attention's in the forefront. And that's what they do in reality. They keep your attention in the forefront so you don't see what's going on behind. Like that foot, you see the footage where the man's face comes up behind the thing coming out. Like first time round, no one really clocked that because everyone was focusing on the foreground. That thing's spinning out of the thing. They got away with it until people slowed down and started to look into it, and there we go. We're hidden in plain sight.
Have you heard about Houdini, Harry Houdini?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like his best method was misdirection.
Yeah.
So
making you look there, meanwhile it's going on over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like making an elephant disappear in the middle of the crowd.
Yep.
So this is what they actually doing to us.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they hiding from us? And I've been researching, like, with 29th of March was the day that they actually put in the Basel III directive. It's like a bill, new bill for central banks. So, and guess that they change in the politics. They like returning to the gold and cutting down the percentage of currency that was backed by dollar, and cutting down all this oil dollar system. So it's like everybody accepted this, and like in a couple of years they're going to be starting implementing. So that's why we're going to see some, probably economic shifts into the dollar, you know, uh,
Wow.
dollar pessimization, not call it, because what are they trying to do is like they've been talking about it like for 100 years, and they were using Bretton Woods system for like 70 years, and now this is what they do. Uh, while showing us the cartoons about space, they actually trying to steal more money from us one more time.
Time. It's more time, really, isn't it? Because the monetary, I feel like the monetary part's neither here nor there. It's the time. Because the money thing, people say, yeah, you can get the money back. Yeah, with more time. It's a catch-22.
Yeah, and your
It's
life
like a
ends.
prison sentence. It is like a, well, with more money comes more time, and more time,
Yeah,
and more money, and that is distracting us from being in the happenstance of things, being in the now.
yeah,
Everyone's always concerned with the next destination, the next paycheck, the next bill, and that's very real. Yeah. For all of us, we all need to keep a roof over our head. We all need to keep our young ones, if we're parents, family, so on and so forth. Everybody is someone to something, like a mum, a daughter, a sister, an uncle, an auntie. Everyone's got some kind of responsibilities to somebody or something.